welcome, everyone. Finally, we're going to properly do this. I've got the amazing, the brilliant, superb philc84. Please
Hello,
introduce yourself.
hello. I'm Phil. Thank you very much. I like the dramatic countdown. I was sitting there watching the final few numbers tick down. I thought, I assume we're going live and nothing horrendous is going to happen when it gets to 0.
Well, with me, something horrendous could happen because
Yeah.
it always breaks or something goes wrong. I have a 3 minute timer. We could put that on and it goes on a loop. So,
Oh no! If it makes you feel any better, I'm terrible with technology. I'm a bit of a luddite. If Apple don't make it easy to do, then I can't do it. So it's yeah.
so your everything has to be Apple with you then, is it?
Yeah, I got onto the iPhone quite quickly. So the iPhone 1 came out. I didn't get an iPhone 1 because no one really knew whether it was going to be as revolutionary as they said. Then they brought out the second iPhone, which was actually called the iPhone 3G at the time. And
The 3G
yeah,
was the game changer.
yeah, it was a game changer. And I got on board then, and then you're part of the ecosystem. And when you're part of the ecosystem, it's they've got you, they've got you. They yeah. So, but it was the only show in town for a
Yeah.
good few years. The iPhone really was the only show in town, and yeah, I've just stuck with it. So I've nothing against the Samsung people, or the Pixel is supposed to be very good, isn't it? But yeah, I'm on iPhone.
Yeah, we won't hold it against you. Like it won't go into. So people that don't know Phil, he makes let's say kind of funny videos about different places in England. Well, that's what I know him for. He makes
Mm.
other videos. So you have 22 million likes on TikTok, according to
Yeah.
me. 430,000 subscribers. I know you count likes more than subscribers, from what I've heard.
Ah, yes, I do. I think on TikTok, likes are followers tend to be more of a gauge of how attractive you are, and likes are a better gauge of the quality of what you're putting out. I think that's my opinion. You see sort of attractive OnlyFans girls who sort of have 1 million followers and sort of 900,000 likes, and you try and figure out how that works, but it does. So yeah, yeah.
Because when you're scrolling through, someone's just going to go subscribe. She's pretty to look at, maybe. I don't know. That's
Mm,
what I do. Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
I'm single. I can do that.
Mm.
Um, so how did it get started? Was it lockdown, like a lot of channels or pages or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It was as with sort of uh, as with like the foundation of a lot of the bigger British TikTokers now. It was lockdown one where they kind of. So I'd say that like some people blew up straight away during lockdown one, like people like Eden Halves and stuff like that. Like the monster. That's a horrible word. I don't mean that about her, but the monster accounts. They sort of. Whereas I wasn't doing a lot during lockdown one, but I was playing with it. I was learning what worked. I was learning what didn't work. I was learning what people found funny and things like that. So yeah, lockdown one was Genesis really, and it was a happy time on the app. It was TikTok, Tiger King. What else was there during lockdown one?
The
Because you had a
lockdowns
you're in
were
Ireland, aren't you?
in the UK. Lockdowns were they started differently. There's a couple of weeks between them, different lockdowns and things. So it's
Yeah, I
hard.
was gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say, but we coincided ours with kind of Tiger King. I don't know if you remember Tiger King on Netflix, and yeah, everybody just got stuck at home, so everybody watched that, and TikTok was just blew up. TikTok just went because people just wanted to change. People were just like, okay, Facebook, everybody, like Facebook, Instagram, they just wanted like give me something new. So TikTok was it, and yeah, I loved it. I was just on it for like a couple of hours a day, pretty much.
I think
Yeah.
that's when TikTok moved from we'll say young people doing dancing to more long form videos or different videos. An older generation maybe got onto it.
Yeah, I think it was when they I don't want to go too nerdy. I don't know sort of how nerdy your audience go. But if you when lockdown first came on TikTok, if you wanted a post to blow up without using a trending sound, without using someone else's sound,
Yeah.
it was really, really hard. And then they sort of flip things, and they knew they wanted to start taking on YouTube in the long term and things like that. So then they started pushing stuff where you could use your own sound and you didn't have any music on it or anything like that. So early on, actually, you almost needed to use those trending sounds and trending music to try and get any traction. Whereas within a few months of that, they wanted people putting out original stuff. So yeah, that was kind of where I got quite lucky with where I was at the time. Yeah.
Don't know if you think it's common, but Phil card. It's a list you got, or was it? It's not a list you come up with yourself.
No, the list is. I play quite fast and loose with the list. I go to a lot of places that aren't on it. The list was done by a website called I Live Here, and it had 110,000 people on it. And I think I came across it. I think I did a guide to one town or another, and they were like, "Oh, it's the ninth, or Croydon or whatever. I think it's the ninth worst place to live. I can't remember. I should know the list off by heart." And someone said, "Oh, it's the ninth worst place to live in the country." So I kind of Googled it, and I found it, and I found the list they were talking about. And yeah, I thought, "Oh, that's pretty good. So that's quite a good idea," because I realised I'd already done like 3 or 4 places on it, and I didn't know where I was going to do next. And I saw Aylesbury was at number 1, and I wasn't going to be that far away from Aylesbury, so I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll start doing the list." What I didn't realise though is, although the list has a lot of places which are quite close to where I live and where I travel socially and with work and things like that, there's a lot of places I don't go anywhere near. And yeah, that's now become a bit of a problem. It's become a little bit of a problem because I do have to kind of go further and further out of my way. And we won't go in too much detail into what TikTok pays, but most people kind of know it ain't much. So yeah, you then have to do like brand deals to try and up the money to not. I love doing the TikToks. I really, really love doing them. They are a great hobby. But when you're really dedicating like a day of your life to do one, I've got a wife and a child, and like, we've got a mortgage, and kind of I need some kind of financial return to justify to the, like, you know, everyone in my life that not much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, "Oh, I want 12 grand to go and do a day," like nothing like that. But I can't just vanish off for 2 or 3 days filming without any kind of come out. It's not fair on my wife, really. So yeah.
So getting into, we say, brand deals, have you got a lot of offers? Have you done a lot of brand deals? I know, was it for Bonfire Night? Was it on Facebook? Was it one of the internet crowds in England? You done a brand deal? Was it? I
Yeah,
can't.
so we did. I did EE. We did a live from for EE. Yeah, we'll have a meeting about that, and we'll talk about what worked, what didn't work, what we would do differently. It's Yeah, that they were really good to work with. But what happens with the massive brands, and I don't think I'm speaking outside of school, is you don't have a lot to do with the massive brands. So I've done a few. I've done Bloomsbury Books, which is obviously a massive publisher. Manscaped you deal directly with, and I did a recruitment firm, and I've done 2 or 3 others which have been posted elsewhere, haven't been posted on my account. And you're not having much to do with the actual brand. They employ huge agencies to manage their stuff for them, and that's who you're working with, really,
Yeah.
the agencies. And then the brand gets sign off on it, so the brand approves. But yeah, they're very professional. It is the big companies. I find that the tiny companies are quite fun. I've done a few bits and pieces for like really, really tiny companies, almost as like a favour because I like them. And then I've done stuff for like big multi-million pound companies which are organised, and they know what they want and they know what they don't want, so you know what you're doing. At least if there's red lines on stuff they don't want you to talk about, you know them before you start filming. Whereas like the 1 or 2 things I've done for like medium-sized companies, they're a real headache. It's really, they don't know what they want. They don't like yeah. So yeah, I try and avoid them unless but it's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. Otherwise,
So are the smaller ones coming to you and thinking he'll know what to do? he can make something funny or he can make something entertaining that will go viral or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard because you've got to try and be, for it to be sustainable, you've got to try and be brand safe. So you can't swear, you can't talk about like hard drug use, you can't. But then equally, you've got to try and be funny to your demographic. Of like my demographic is kind of 18 to sort of 45-year-old, about 60% men, 40% women. But there are lots of people outside of that. But so you've got to try and be edgy enough to be funny, but you can't. The moment like even because the thing is, it's not just the branded post itself; it's your posts that you're doing around it. And when we were negotiating, yeah, when we were negotiating the EE contract, that was when, which wasn't a lot of negotiation because I wanted to do it. And if you want to do something, you just kind of, it sounded fun. I wanted to go to Lewis to the bonfire night. I did a post on Brewdog, which I was really quite mean about Brewdog. And yeah, that was
A lot of us don't really like brew dogs, so we kind of like that. I like that
yeah.
post anyhow.
But the problem was when we went for the when we actually the day before like one of the meetings we had about going to Lewis, which was fantastic. Like I said, everybody was brilliant. I loved it. But I was aware as I was about to go into the meeting, I'm like, oh crap! The last post on my grid for anyone who doesn't know me, who's in the meeting, is me absolutely launching one at Brewdog. I thought, well, that's not good, but they didn't mind. They like I say, they're all professionals. They're all fantastic. It's all grown ups, so it's yeah, it was good. But brand deals are unfortunately not unfortunately because they can be good, but they're a necessary evil. If you want to create bigger, better things, it's just part of it. You've just got to do them. So yeah.
And what are them people like when the first time you sat down with some of them? What are they like to deal with? Because I've heard other some Irish ones, and they've sat down with people, and I don't know, but they said like they don't know what they're talking about. Like, I know one person said, "Can you delete this tweet you did 4 years ago or something like some post 4 years ago?" They went back so far, and he kind of said, "No, like that was 4 years ago. Like what? Like
Yeah, you're getting yeah. So I've heard. I don't know anything about that. I have an anonymous Twitter account which I haven't even logged on to for about a year, 2 years. Um, so there's no way you'd know that my Twitter account is mine. And on that, there's nothing that bad. It's mainly sport, but no, I conduct myself fine on it. But there are
it was something he said something about another team or something like something innocuous that it wouldn't cause any offense. Well, for his followers, which are that way inclined, it wouldn't have caused any offense. So, and just
yeah.
how deep are these social or these brand people?
Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. There was a thing with Sky this week, wasn't there, where Sky Sports paused a contract with I've forgotten his name. He's really famous as well. Speed, something like that. And yeah, I do see their point because ultimately, like at the big brands, you have two or three people whose full-time job it is brand integrity. That's what they do. It's not like a by thought. It's not like a sort of a side thought. Sorry, it's their whole job is brand integrity. So when someone says, "Oh yeah, we're going to work with this YouTuber or this Instagrammer," then these people in the massive companies, they will spend a day of their life doing their due diligence on that person because the last thing they want is like basically quite a small advert and quite a cheap advert by their standards to turn into a massive national press outrage. It's just not worth it to them. So yeah, but I think things are changing. I think that authenticity is really, really important. But there are things that you wouldn't have on your Twitter account. So like
Yeah,
anything like racist or anything you can't know that there are. But if it's like if it's a joke which is clearly a joke and it's not targeted at like a minority who is often targeted, um, some brands don't like you to have anything political. Well, that's just ridiculous. Like like unless you're banging on about it the whole time, you are allowed to sort of occasionally say, "Oh, I don't think that's good." So yeah.
Have you ever thought of moving then from? Because I know you have one video up on YouTube, and I don't think you have an Instagram. If I couldn't find it anyhow. If you do,
Not on
yeah.
Instagram.
I mean, I think against YouTube or Instagram, because I think yours for YouTube Reels or YouTube Shorts, your videos would work really well.
You've only got 60 seconds though, haven't you, on YouTube Shorts?
You know, it's gone for 2 minutes now, isn't it?
If it's gone up to 3 minutes, then I might move some stuff across. Yeah, if it's up to 3 minutes, but so much of my stuff is like 1 minute 10, 1 minute 20, 2.5 minutes. There's
I think you can
yeah.
have it longer, but they won't 100% go shorts, but they'll still. I've seen a lot of big videos going long form like that going big, like, so I think you're okay. You just don't. I think.
Yeah, it's probably something I need to. It's probably something I need to get going with. I only set up the Facebook page like 4 months ago, I think, and we only
Yeah.
started posting on that sort of 3 months ago. So yeah, I've got the Facebook page going now because Facebook is really good for video, and it pays more than YouTube, and it's you've got the ability on Facebook to go viral, which is harder to do on YouTube because there's a share button and people can share your video. So yeah, Facebook is kind of where I'm trying to grow, just to get a bit of ad revenue coming in, really. But yeah, YouTube, I like YouTube. Instagram's the only one that I probably won't go near. Instagram's the one that I can't be bothered with. So like I've got nothing against YouTube, but like I say, too many of my successful posts just wouldn't go onto YouTube Shorts. So yeah.
So let's say someone comes to you and they have a good idea for, let's say, TikTok account. What advice would you give them? They haven't posted anything. They have this idea, whatever content, and you think they have the personality, because I think personality is the biggest thing I hear. What advice would you give them?
Don't get married to like any ideas. If you think something's funny, then and other people clearly don't. You can try something once and it flops. You can try something twice, and if it flops twice, probably move on with it. And I've not been great at this myself. There are recurring jokes that I have honestly thought are so funny that I've kept hammering away with, and no one picks up on them. And I just think, oh, okay, that you get to a point. So you can go in with the best ideas in the world, but they might just be the best ideas to you. And
Yeah,
ultimately, if you try something enough times, the algorithm doesn't like that's actual people's watch time. People just simply aren't watching it. They're not engaged with it. It's not TikTok. It's not a conspiracy. So you've just got to give up on that. And then so go in with an idea, but just be ready, like in any business, just be ready to potentially evolve that in one direction or another. And the bits that people will like might not be the bits that you think are the best, but you've got to go with them and then always drop you. And I'd say definitely on TikTok now, like you can have quite a broad account. So when I first got on TikTok, you needed a really niche thing. You had to do one specific thing, whatever it may be. Whereas now you can just be a history account or a music account or a cricket account or whatever, and you've got quite a lot of room in it, like a YouTube channel, to go off and do all sorts of other bits and pieces. Whereas, like I say, a couple of years ago on TikTok, people wanted it was all about like one. Like everybody had a party trick. It was what was everybody's party trick, and that was it. And the comedians would do. I don't know if you remember, but like the 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 comedians would do the same sketch, just like a different version of the same
yeah.
joke again and again and again. But no, it's moved on from that. So yeah, you can be quite broad. You've also got to be aware that if you are in it, then the first like 5-6 months are going to be a bit of a slog, and you've got to make it something that you don't mind talking about every single day. So it's and don't flog, don't don't flog. How many floggers do you know on TikTok? There is, well, we mentioned it earlier, Eden Halves. There's probably GK Barry could count as a flogger. There are hardly any of them who just post about their daily lives. Hardly anyone. So don't look at YouTube and all those successful YouTubers who just go about their daily life and narrate it and think that you can do that on TikTok. No one cares. Unless you do some ridiculously exciting job, like you're a, I don't know,
Yeah,
something
you know,
really exciting.
or something like that. Like, or
Yeah. No one cares about like a day in the life of a parent. Like, unless it's hilarious, unless you're making it funny, yeah, no one cares.
yes, I know. Who I see someone comment on your Facebook. I think she's American, and is it Yorkshire or Dale or something like that? She's
Yeah,
American.
Yorkshire Peach. Yeah, Yorkshire Peach. Yeah.
Yeah, she's funny and entertaining and has that personality. And yeah, I think she's really good.
Yeah.
And
Oh, sorry.
no, go on.
I was. Yeah, Lisa is. Lisa's sort of like naturally funny, and she sort of naturally smiles a lot. She's got and she's got like a nice laugh and things like that. And like you have a lot of that on social media and YouTube as well. It's just people's persona. Like I don't have a very sort of I don't have a persona like that, but I can put an act on for 2.5 minutes and make a post. Whereas some people are just like really big, elaborate facial expressions, and they just love stuff, and their natural reaction to things is brilliant. And that you're not going to learn that. You know you're not you've either got that or you haven't. And if you haven't got it, most people don't, and lots of people still are successful on social media by carefully and lovingly creating something that they care about. Yeah. So yeah, you've got
How,
to care about what you post about.
how do you find recording the videos of the places? Is it secret? Is it covert? Is it like just get me out here?
Yeah, no, I don't really talk about where I'm going before I go there. Mainly, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, but like mainly because of like school kids and stuff like that. Like if because some of the places you go, so I was in Boston on what day are we today? Thursday. I was in Boston yesterday. Um, and Boston's quite a small place,
Yeah,
and I was there, at, like through the day, so it could be quite disruptive. Like if because all it takes is like one gang of kids, and like the whole thing can be quite hard then to do because they then follow you round, and it's kind of happened a couple of times where like you get spotted and people come over and ask to have a picture taken, which is fine. That's like great. And you have a little chat and you talk about what you're thinking about doing with their town and what jokes you've thought of so far. And that's quite nice. And then they sort of stay with you and they follow you. And you're like, okay, right. Okay, I'm going to go get something to eat now. And they're like, where are you going to go get something to eat? It's like, no, that's not an invite. That is kind of like, I've got to, you don't want to be rude, but you kind of go, I have got to get on. I've got to get home. Like, I've got to do this and go. So, yeah, so I kind of, yeah, I don't announce really where I'm going, unless it's a city. If it's a big city, you're just going to, but, yeah, no, it's fine. I dress in quite a boring way. So, like, normally I dress in quite a boring way. So, I walk around like a normal middle-aged man with my phone. And I film everything on my phone, so it's not like I'm waving a camera around like a big,
or get
prop.
more.
Yeah. I'm not like Francis, Francis Bourgeois, the train
Yeah,
guy. Yeah, I
like
don't have a GoPro on my head, and I'm not wearing like a guard's uniform or anything like that.
video. You should do that.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, filming them is quite easy, and I try to be quite respectful. Like you don't film kids, you don't film uh yeah, you don't film people's houses. Like you might do like a panning shot of someone's house or something like that, but you're not disrespectful about the house. You make sure that you know, like it's all to do with like the town centre, and you try not to sort of film anything that you shouldn't. Yeah. So.
Is there any, when you recorded something, have you ever been disappointed saying, I haven't got the good enough picture, or has it gone wrong?
Well, I tend to overshoot, so I tend to record quite a lot. So yeah, there's normally enough footage. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere where I just haven't had enough. Because you just make the post shorter. I think Didcot, when I got back from Didcot, I was like, oh my God, I really don't have a lot here. And I had to use virtually every shot that I took. Yeah, so that was yeah. I tend since then, since I did that, and I got home, and I thought, oh my God, I've only got like a couple of minutes of footage here. I tend to like overshoot a little bit now. So yeah, my camera roll looks like the camera roll on my phone is like 15,000 videos, and it's ridiculous. It's all just shot. If like a policeman found it, he'd want to know what the hell I was up to. Yeah, it looks like I'm scoping out a terrorist attack in cities all over the country. It looks really weird because it's just like panning shots of public places and public buildings. But yeah.
We have to go on to your love of different supermarkets, because there's one supermarket which you really love, which is Iceland.
Oh, I hate it. Mm.
What?
I Well, Iceland. I did a guide to all the different supermarkets quite early on, and I'm starting to remake them now because I did it when we only had 1 minute 1 minute limit on posts, and there was loads that I couldn't get in. So I'm starting to remake the guides to the supermarkets. And Iceland, I just think Iceland is the piss. Do you have Iceland in Ireland?
There's a few of them, yeah, but I was in it once, and everything seemed very expensive for what it was.
Well, over here it's the opposite. They're very very cheap, like really cheap, and lots of people use them because they are an incredibly cheap way to feed a family. But my whole issue with Iceland is the layout of the shop. So I used to work in retail, and I know because I've been in meetings with PowerPoint presentations about buying habits and how people decide what to buy, when to buy it, and how much to budget based on store layout. And I was at an okay level for a retailer, but nothing that senior. So Iceland are fully aware of their shop layout. They are completely aware of what they do with their shop layout, which is put the unhealthiest ready meals, all the stuff like the brand deals with Harry Ramsden's and Greg's and TGI Fridays and all of these. They put them on the whole front aisle by the door. And the way an Iceland store works is you walk in and you have to go up and down the aisle. So the first aisle you have to walk up to get anywhere else in the store. You can't cut through it. And I thought, oh, and basically those meals are £2 or £3 or whatever. And you know through the buying habits, they have 5 different brand partnerships: Greg's, Cathedral City, TGI Fridays, Harry Ramsden's, and one other that I can't remember. And you know that for a lot of mums and dads, they will go in there with their trolley, and they are thinking, because I'm a parent, you know, when I shop for my family, you go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's how you do it. That's how you. And what they've done is they've done it so their high margin stuff is at the front. So you fill your trolley up with their branded, like their own brand partnership, unhealthy stuff. And I just don't like it. I think it's disgusting. I think it's taking advantage of the financially vulnerable. And I said this in Iceland, we love you. Oh, sod you. Yeah. So although people say, oh, like they are on the third aisle of Ireland. First aisle is chicken. Oh, is it now? Oh, all of the ones I've been into And like I said, I did film an update. I did film an update in uh, Andover, I think, where they had moved the fruit and the veg, and they put the fruit and the veg at the end of the first aisle. Um, so yeah, because of that conscious decision, that was why I started memeing them, because I thought, well, there's no point on TikTok like me explaining it like I have just now, because no one's got the attention span for it on TikTok. So yeah, I just started memeing them, and then I was on one of the BBC breakfast shows. I go on the BBC breakfast radio a little bit, like the different regions. So like not Radio Two, but like BBC Wiltshire, BBC
Yeah, yeah.
Essex, or whatever. And one of the producers at the end said, if if you if we can get someone from Iceland to come on with you, will you come on? And I said, yeah, I'm not going to have an intellectual debate. I'm just going to sling mud at them. And they were like, yeah, we'd love that. I probably shouldn't have said that, actually. They said, well, no, like they do, because that's what radio is. They love it, don't they? If there's a tear up on the radio. So I said yes, but he emailed in like 3 or 4 days later, just saying no one from Iceland is prepared to come on. So I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. But yeah, it's no disrespect to anyone who shops at Iceland or anything like that. It is a bit of a joke, but that issue is where that whole vendetta came from.
Okay, yeah. That's just something that comes up in your videos. What about other supermarkets? So what's your, let's say, top 5 supermarkets, or top 4 supermarkets? How do
Well,
you?
the best supermarkets are obviously, like you've got Morrison, Sainsbury's, and Tesco. I think they're kind of your middle of the road ones. Asda as well, probably Asda. And then Aldi and Lidl are off doing their own thing at the side. Aldi and Lidl are their own entity, aren't they? And then you've got Waitrose and M&S kind of up off its own. And then you've got Iceland Farm Foods, Heron Foods. Oh, up north there is a thing called Booths as well, but I've only ever been into a Booths once. We don't have them down here. So yeah. What do
Another
you
one.
have? You have. I know you have Tesco. You've
Um,
Sainsbury's.
we have Lidl, which are nearly in every town and village around Ireland. We have Tesco. There's a few M&S's, maybe 4 or 5, I think, and then Super Value, which is an Irish one, and then there is Dunn Stores, which is another Irish one. So they're the big ones here.
It's the one thing that struck me when the last time I was in Ireland, which was about 6 years ago, is booze is quite expensive in the supermarkets. You don't have drinks deals in the supermarkets. Like over here, you can get a ton of booze for 20 quid, whereas Tesco in Ireland, there were no drinks deals at all.
No, the regulations now, you can't have, say, 6 for 5 or whatever. And there's even more regulations coming in now. It's gone more expensive.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's minimum price units have come in, so that's brought it up too.
Yeah,
So,
Scotland have got that. Scotland have got that as well.
and seemingly in Scotland, I think hasn't gone up, hasn't the alcohol consumption gone up since minimum price units. So it hasn't worked. Yeah, let's get away from it. What next for the channel then? We say after, how far along on is it 50? How far along the list is it?
I don't have the list with me. I think now I've done. It must be nearly 20. It must be like one either side of 20,
Okay.
and it's 50. But like I say, I kind of it can't just be the list. I do other ones around it. So probably the list has only made up maybe a third of all the places I've been to. The Some places on the list are easier. Some places are hard. So what like the one that I'm really requested for is Portsmouth and Southampton. And I don't know how well you know Portsmouth and Southampton, but they're down on the south coast of England. But they hate each other. They're very, very close, really close. And there's only about 5 or 10 miles between them. And they hate each other. And I desperately want to do a post on both of them in the same post and then compare it, so constantly be cutting between the two. But I drafted it out in my mind, and I kind of have a way that I kind of work out how long a post is going to be, because I kind of just sort of hum it along, and in my mind, and time it, and it would be about 7 minutes long. And I don't know, 7 minutes on TikTok is,
No, that's like having a part one and part two to TikTok, isn't it?
yeah, 7 minutes is hard. The longest TikTok I've done was about 5.5 minutes, and it worked, but I was really pushing my luck with it, because the algorithm works off watch time. The algorithm works off other things, but mainly watch time. So if you have a 7 minute post and people are only watching 2 minutes of it, it only, it won't push it out to anyone. Yeah, yeah.
What other video? What else is coming then? What ideas is brewing in your head, or
Oh, like you get invited to things. So now we get invited to things. So I get invited to quite a lot because it doesn't cost them anything. So like you get invited to museums, and you get invited to different experiences, and you get invited to go on like zip wires, and you get invited to go on, like to football matches and things like that. But it's got to be like, it's really easy. You kind of got to, the one thing that I'm learning is I've got to like separate in my mind like things I want to do and things that would make a good post. And it's got to make a good post, because there's no point saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go do something," if it's then going to make a rubbish post. So, um, yeah, I love doing all the random stuff. I really do love doing like and the tourist attractions and like historical sites and stuff like that. Yeah,
you
so I'll
you
keep doing it.
remember
But
trust, is it? It's not here. I don't know. The National Trust. Do you remember? Is that what it's called?
yeah, National Trust. Yeah, yeah.
The free car parking. Is that all you get, or free entry?
Yeah, yeah. The car parking is good. They're a big landowner, so they've got lots of car parks in rural locations. Um, yeah, but National Trust is good. Yeah, you kind of, yeah. I just go about my day to day life, and then if I sort of, if it's a lot of stuff hides in plain sight, you sort of, you look at it and you go, oh my god, yeah, there probably is a post in that. But yeah, it's hard because, like I say, because I'm trying to make them longer now. Early on, I used to post about all sorts, whereas now I want everything to be sort of 2 or 3 minutes long. So it's got to have enough about it to be 2 or 3 minutes long. So, yeah, yeah, I will. Yeah, they're coming to me. But winter is a hard time. Winter is the same happens every year because you don't have much time to film, really, because most of what I film is outside. Not only have you got to find the time in your life to go and do it, it's also got to be pretty much between about sort of 8:30 and 3:30 in the day. Whereas in the summer, I can work through the day and then, go off once I've finished work and, have another 4 hours of filming somewhere. So yeah.
Don't know, Christmas lights turning on or some random.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. The great thing about it is because it's all on my phone, because it's not like YouTube, because you're filming it all on your phone. You can you can do a post on the fly. Like if you're going about your day to day life and then something is just fantastic. So I did one on like the Marble Arch Mound, which was don't worry about it. It was like sort of a really rubbish tourist attraction, and yeah, I never planned on doing a post on it. But the moment we got there and saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is gold. This is absolutely gold. Um, so yeah, you do have the odd thing like that. I'm in Parliament tomorrow. I've been invited into Parliament tomorrow. Um, so yeah, but I don't know what I'm going to be allowed to film, and I have no idea. So I haven't thought of anything. I haven't written anything or anything like that. I will just go and just see what I'm allowed to film and like go backwards from there in my mind. But yeah,
I want
that's that.
Is Friday a non-sitting day for Parliament in the UK? Is meaning that politicians are not there.
Yeah. So
No,
there's yeah. So the House of Lords is sitting, and then I think they have some business through the morning, and I think it finishes at about lunchtime. Um, from memory, but the House of Lords is sitting tomorrow because we can't get into the House of Lords till 3:30. So yeah, I don't know, but it's to see the history of it. It's to see the different rooms and to see we're getting a tour of it and everything like that by a guy who follows me, and he emailed me and invited me along. And but he said, like, there will be things that you can't film. There will be, like, you know, stuff that you can't film and stuff that you can, and I don't know what those things are. So yeah, that I'll just have to make it up as I go along with what we do there. But yeah, you have a lot of that. You have a lot of that. You have a lot of things which would be really, really good, but you can't film them. Like, it's too, like, if it's someone's small business, although it would make a really funny post, I don't want to be horrible about people's small businesses. So, you know, like, if it's a big organization, then fine. But yeah, so you have lots of things where you're like, oh, this would be a really funny post, but I can't do it. It's yeah.
Are you worried about people who might take offense and who might try to find your house or your home? Because I know there's one video of your daughter, one of the first videos, isn't it? Are you worried about that?
No, no, not really. No. I think um, I think there are types of creators that need to, like, might be worried, but not really. I get very little hate. I really do get very little hate. I'm getting a little bit of it at the moment now because I'm posting on Facebook again.
Hmm.
Well, I'm posting on Facebook, and Facebook is like a whole new audience. And lots of people have never seen any of my stuff before, so it's like a whole new thing. And you get lots of messages, you get lots of DMs, and the moment you go back and say, "Mate, it's I'm just joking," they all like, "Oh, sorry," like laughter emoji. I thought you were being serious. On TikTok, I get very, very little hate. I do have criticism. I do get criticism, but like no one. It's not like angry hate. It's just like criticism of the posts. So, no, I'm not. I'm not particularly. I'm not particularly worried. We have a lock on our door, and um, we've got a camera outside. I mean, you can't. You know, celebrities don't. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
they don't.
You know,
They don't get too. You know.
you know that someone might take the wrong idea and then let's find this person's address, and they don't even find your right address and they post it. And you know how some people can just they see one post and you've made it funny and they don't get it, and then you're the worst person in the world or whatever, you know.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's a big jump. It's a big jump to go to. Yeah, I'm lucky with where we live. We live on a private estate, and it's you know, not that secure, but there is there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never really thought about it. I never, because you're sort of like talking about potentially like a full on nutter, really, because it would be a full on nutter. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't know. What I have noticed though is it, like, when I have been along to things in the evening. So I've gone along to various things in the evening which you get invited to, and some of the girls, like some of the girls who've got quite big followings on TikTok and Instagram, they have security with them, and it costs anything from about 200 quid to 500 quid to have security, like a person with you through the night. And I do get that with the young women. You know, a lot of them are in their 20s, they're good looking girls, and they're going out for the evening to an event that is publicized. So if they do have any weird stalkers, the stalkers will know they're there. Or, you know, like, so yeah, I've always, like, 3 or 4 times, like, I've met people and they've come over and said hi, or I've gone over and said hi, and they have someone with them, and I've thought, oh, that's quite cool. But it's not something that I feel like I've ever needed. I've only ever, out and about, I've had so much interaction with people who've come over and said hi, and people have only ever said nice things. No one has ever come and said anything bad. So, I mean, that could change now. Don't know.
Thank you. You're on this after being on this interview, you will be something bad will happen to you now. What's been the worst comment then? I asked that to everyone. Worst comment you've got.
It would have been early on. It would have been early on. Um, when you get to a size, people don't. It did cut out. I think it was at about 50,000 followers, and when I was consistently getting about 20,000, 25,000 views a post, the hate dropped right off. They sort of give up, and then they go into the comment section to leave something really, really nasty, and they see that loads of the comments are kind of getting in on the joke that you've said, or they're like with you, so that people think, oh, okay, right, I'm not going to get involved in this. But early on, you get some horrible stuff. I think quite early on, I joked about nurses dancing during the pandemic. Like, I didn't mean any, like, no, nothing nasty about it, but just I think it was something along the lines of, I think I've even taken the post down, something like, if the pandemic has taught us anything, it is that nurses are great at saving lives, but they're terrible at dancing on TikTok. Because I don't know whether in Ireland you had it, but over here during lockdown 1, they were in their nursing uniforms just dancing on TikTok, and it would get like 2 million likes because people were, but they were rubbish dancers. And when I did that post, I only had like sort of 200 followers, 300 followers. Yeah, I got a lot of hate, like a lot of hate, like really, quite. But the nastiest comment. The nastiest comments are the ones that broadside you, because it's about mindset. It's about how tired you are at the time. It's about how you're feeling about yourself at the time. So probably the most offended or the most upset I've been by a comment hasn't actually. The comment probably wasn't that bad. It was probably something like, "You're not funny. You just give up on this now. Full stop, mate. I'm not joking. Just call it a day." Or something like that, like that sort of. That's you like, and when you're in a particular mindset, like if you're tired and you read that, you're like, oh my god, I don't know whether they're being horrible, I don't know whether they're being serious, or whatever. Yeah, so that, but the really horrible stuff where they're like, oh, you're a bald bleep, you're a whatever, that doesn't bother me. You just, yeah, you just. I don't know why it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't bother me. And one thing that does annoy me, if you if you want to know, is when people like stitch my stuff and duet my stuff, and then they do a psychological. And I've had this happen like probably 20, 25 times in the last couple of years, mainly from like quite small accounts. And they do like a psychological analysis on like what I'm thinking and why I'm saying what I'm saying. So they're sort of saying the reason he's gone here is because he wants you to believe that these people shouldn't. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm not. The reason I went there is because there's a shitty list that I've got kind of committed to having to go and do posts on, and I've got there, and it's just a joke. There's no depth to it at all. There's a joke. So yeah, that's quite nasty when you've got people like trying to guess what you're thinking. But again, you can't comment on it or reply to it. You just can't, because if you do, everybody will then do it. So you've just got to ignore it. It's and that can be really, really hard. But it's what it is.
Have you blocked anyone or?
Yeah. So I block people for their own good. Some people get really argumentative in the comments. So some people like argue with lots of people, and you look in the comments, and a video might have 2,000 comments, and then you look at one comment, and it's got replies. It's got something like 231 replies underneath it, and you look through it, and there's just 8 or 9 people arguing with one person, and you look at that person, and they've just got themselves into deep water. They've just like got into a massive argument. They're wrong. So sometimes you're like, okay, let's just put this fire out. Let's protect this person from themselves. They've been doing this for 6 weeks now. Like, you just block them for their own. So it's nothing they do to me. The other ones is like, if you duet or stitch me negatively 3 times, and unless you're a massive creator, but massive creators won't do it. They're not going to like constantly attack another creator. They might take one attack, but they won't. But like, if you've got a smaller account, if you negatively stitch or duet me 3 times, you're getting blocked. Because this sounds horrible, but it's part of TikTok. I'm just in their head. Like the For You page, people get in your head. I don't know whether there's people that annoy you on TikTok, and they just kind of they just appear on your For You page. And there's people that I don't like on TikTok, like really don't like on TikTok. And because I watch their stuff and I'm like, oh, the For You page shows me more of it. So those people that, like, it's obvious that they just don't like me as a person, and they keep duetting and stitching, but not being really horrible, but just sort of saying, I don't get what this guy's problem is. It's like, okay, right, you don't like me. That's fine. You've done 3 of them now. You get. So I've done maybe 4 or 5 of those.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think I've blocked maybe 50 people, which isn't bad. For
No, for your size.
yeah, I don't block many people. I want the engagement. I want them commenting.
Um,
Do you get much hate?
at the start, yeah, I got a lot of hate, but it's died down now. My count has gone very quiet. So
It's the worst early on. They want to hammer you early on. They want to get in there early on. If you can get through it, then
well, I don't want to say where I know where it came from, and I don't really want to say it. But yeah. So this was a mainly beer channel. What's your favorite tipple?
oh, beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do
Yeah.
I what do I what do I
What?
like at the moment? Round our way, more and more places, and this isn't my favourite beer, but this is just a nice one that lots of places are getting on. So Beavertown have really made like inroads into getting into the mainstream pubs.
Yeah.
So in the mainstream pubs, you don't really have a lot of choice, and they're now getting neck oil and gamma ray into the mainstream pubs, which is just a nice change. So as opposed to going in there and going, right, I've got Kronenberg, Foster's, Stella, Heineken. Now a lot of places have got neck oil as well, so it's got a bit of taste to it. Not much, but a bit. But yeah, what's my favourite? Oh, I don't know. You've put me on the spot. I did the Bermondsey Beer Mile about a year and a half ago. I've done the Bermondsey Beer Mile twice, which is, I don't know whether you know, but in Bermondsey in South London there are a load of microbreweries, and you go along. And Four Paw do some really nice stuff. Four Paw do a citrusy IPA, which is really nice. Tastes like shandy, but it's about 5.5%, I think. Yeah,
So
but
what's
there
your
are.
go? We'll forget the kind of your favorite. What's your go-to style? Are you a mainly lager person? Are you IPA, stouts,
Yeah,
sour?
no. Yeah, IPA or lager. Yeah. So if I've got to be up and working the following day, or up with my daughter or whatever the following day, I tend to drink lager because I feel fine unless I drink tons of it. I feel fine. Whereas with IPA, you can be lovely, but IPA can give me a headache the following day. You know, it's the darker the beer, like, and then actual ales and stuff like that, and then Guinness. I know this is going to be blasphemous for you. I can only have 2 pints of Guinness. I'm fine with Guinness. I like Guinness, but if I have more than 2 pints, I I just it makes me really drowsy. I just find it too heavy for me. So like I'll have a pint of Guinness or maybe 2 pints of Guinness, but yeah, like an IPA or like I say a lager. If it's more of a casual drink, yeah.
Um, can you remember your first drink at what age?
First drink. Well, first drink was young. We used to have like those stubby bottles that like my dad used to get
Yeah,
from France or whatever. Like those little. You don't really get them anymore. Yeah, you
doesn't
used.
now.
Yeah. And yeah, I used to have one of those. But the first time I actually got drunk, like really drunk, where I was like, "Oh God, this is what being really drunk is like." I think I was 15. So yeah, I'd had a couple of drinks up to that point, so I got like a mild buzz on. But
Yeah.
yeah, the first time I was drunk enough to like go, oh my god, I could do karaoke in front of everyone, or I could, like realizing the power of alcohol. I must have been, I think it was 15, and I can tell you what I was drinking. I don't know whether, how old are you?
35.
Oh, okay, so you remember it. Do you remember Foster's Ice? There was a thing called
Yeah.
we had Foster's Ice, and it was 4%, and I had 8 bottles of it. I took 4 packs of it to this party, and I don't even know whether I drank all 8. Um, but I must have had at least 6, and I remember thinking, oh my god, I'm steaming drunk. And I was. My mum was fuming. But like the following day, I was like, "Oh my god, I don't feel well." And she's like, "Yeah, it's called a hangover." Yeah, and then I wasn't big with drink, and then when we got to 18, 19, you kind of you sort of drink a bit more, don't you? Because that's kind of your social life and everything. And yeah, now my relationship with beer is sort of far more casual, far more casual. I'm at that stage now where like I don't want to be hungover for 3 days, so I tend not to go too mad.
Yeah. Uh, what's your hatred of summer holidays? I've heard this as well. You do not like summer holidays.
Sun holidays?
Yeah, I
Oh,
heard.
like beach holidays.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, beach holidays. Yeah. So I just get bored on them. I don't like I
I don't like sitting around doing nothing. I can't
yeah
do it.
yeah I can't stand it. My wife loves them, and my mother-in-law loves them. So my wife and my mother-in-law and my daughter go away once a year. My wife's perfectly happy with it because she knows that since COVID, obviously, COVID kind of messed everything up. But kind of, she's quite happy because she knows that I just get grumpy and bored. But yeah, I just get so bored just sitting by a pool. I've got to be doing stuff. I don't mind going away to like a sunny location. I need to go off and be doing things and seeing things and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah. Oh, they're not for me. They're not for me. I'd rather
What,
just,
what,
yeah.
what would your dream holiday then be, or destination?
Oh, I think it's about memories and the story. So on my TikTok the other day, I saw that there is a company and it's a lot of money. I looked up how much it was and it's a lot of money. But there's a company that do camping holidays, but there's a lot to it. There is a lot to it. So camping holiday is probably a terrible description, to Antarctica. So you can go to Antarctica and you can trek out across the ice, and they have the full on, like the most technologically advanced tents you can have, and they give you all the gear, like Antarctica, even during the summer there, like you go to training before you go. You have to be trained before you go. You have to go to these freezers that they train you how to behave in, how to go for a wee, how to go for a poo, all these things. And I thought, oh, I'd really like to do that. It will be mad and it will be really really hard, but not many people go to Antarctica. I know people sometimes go down there on boats and see it from a boat and then go back up to like Argentina or whatever. But yeah, to actually walk out and camp in Antarctica and see the penguins and the wind and the noise and everything like that. But it's silly money, thousands and thousands and thousands. Yeah.
The first person. Um, yeah. So, well, favorite music. What
Oh, always changes. Like I like sort of punk and rock from the 90s and the noughties. And then I like sort of rock music from like the 80s and sort of 70s, like Metallica, and I like. I have to. I can't bring up my Spotify because my phone. I'm talking to you through my phone. And then I like dance music from the noughties, like sort of hard house and trance and techno. But I don't really listen to that anymore. But I used to like that when I was younger, and occasionally I sort of put a bit of it on in the car. But yeah, mainly rock music, rock music and punk. Yeah, yeah.
um,
Stone Roses, I like the Stone Roses a lot. Um, yeah, Biffy Clyro. Yeah. There's a few.
can you remember your first concert you went to? Your first proper concert, was it? Other than
Um, yeah. So the first one that I went to that was mad, where I thought, okay, this is really really mad, was when I was 15 and my friends were 16, and we went to see the Bloodhound Gang at London Astoria, and we went in the standing bit in Astoria, and yeah, that was when I was like, okay, right, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is because we were in there with grown-ups, we were in there with actual rockers, we were in there with actual real, people towering over us with like piercings and like hardened punk fans and things like that, and because a lot of the Bloodhound Gang songs are quite rocky, and I sort of that was probably the first, and I'd been to like sort of more like poppy concerts, like more like, and I'd been to like a few so I'd seen quite a lot of bands. My friend mum used to work as a producer on CD UK. There was a show that called CD UK, which was actually presented by Anton Deck and Kat Deely, and it was like a competitor to Top of the Pops. And my friend's mum used to work as a producer on it, and we used to go along all the time. We had a year where we used to go along like virtually every other week, and you see huge artists. I mean, ridiculous artists, and there'd just be 50 of you and them. Like people like Cher and Green Day and like anyone you can think of in the late 90s, and but yeah, it wasn't a proper like gig. I flew into Thule, Greenland in the early 80s. I was accompanying aircraft igloo containers, monitoring temps out of. Oh my god! Wow,
But that's a
you've got
form of American Air Corps, if I'm right. I,
yeah. Oh wow.
that was mad.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'd love to go up onto the glaciers and or if you're American glaciers or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about like all of that intense cold and snow and everything like that. I wouldn't want to live there, but I do want to experience it. I do want to experience like the most hostile place in the world for a very short amount of time, basically. Just to
Would not
you
be
know,
comfort.
just to say that you've done it. So much of what we do in life is not for the experience, but it's to say that we've done it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get on TikTok and Instagram. You just post it. I was like,
Well, that's a
is that
good
it?
point. I didn't even think of that. I could if I did it as a TikTok, it might do quite well. If I went to Antarctica and made it a TikTok, and then the other thing is I might be able to claim it as an expense. So even though it would cost like 12 grand or whatever, I might be able to claim it as an expense and not pay any tax on it. I don't know. That's thinking for another day.
Um, yeah. So movies then. We've gone over music. What do you watch? What are you into? Are you Star Trek? Are you Star Wars? Are you any of that?
Yeah, Star Wars over Star Trek. No disrespect to Star Trek, but Star Wars over Star Trek. Um, all things George J.R.R. Martin, Tolkien. I love fantasy. Even all sorts. Yeah. And what other? I quite like war films. I quite like not just mindless violence, but I quite like the storytelling of like stuff like based on true stories. Um, what else do I consume a lot of? I consume a lot of YouTube. I do watch a lot of YouTube. There are lots of channels that I like. Um, Podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. But yeah, one thing that I don't really do, a habit that I've broken. We began using insulated containers for our stuff pallet to ship to good. Oh my god, remote location sounds like quite an intense job, Vanessa. One thing that I stopped doing was I stopped watching open-ended like series. So if something's a mini series, like 1 to 10 episodes or something like that, I'll watch it. But if it's like like
Okay.
Lost or The Walking Dead or something like that, it just became like a ongoing thing, and you were watching it thinking the writers don't know where this is going. The writers are um uh like the yeah, so I kind of stopped watching that. Now I'll either watch a film or I'll watch like a documentary or like a mini series or something like that. But I want a start and an end to it. Because otherwise you can lose so much time to Netflix now, can't you? All the waste on delivery dropped from $60,000 plus a mask, not NTH, in year one to one case of lettuce the following year. Oh my god! The remote sites were scared to try fresh dairy. They didn't believe it. I guess they wouldn't, would they? I guess they wouldn't. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Um,
guess.
yeah, that's a very interesting job. I'm trying to get Vanessa on, but she won't come on to have an interview. She sounds
Oh,
like
that's a pity.
she sounds very interesting. Which all she said she's was to drinking and partying, and I think that's all the army contained.
But try and do a short one. Try and do like an audio only. You can just have a picture there. Just try and do a short one to start with, and that's what I say to everybody. Like if they're nervous about going like live on TikTok or something like that, it's like just go on for 3 minutes. Just set a timer, go on for 3 minutes, and then just try and make it to the timer, and then go off. And then like when you're actually on, you realise no one cares. So
No.
yeah,
What's the last thing you Googled, if you can remember?
yeah. I can. Oh God. So so today I like with work I googled like really like product numbers and things like that, and I google places, I google like map, I use Google Maps a lot. But the last thing that I did a deep dive on was yesterday. In I was in Boston yesterday, and yeah, I was mainly googling things. So you'd see something in the town that you're in, and you just Google it just to read. Like, so you see an interesting building, and yeah, they have a massive church which is about the size of a small cathedral, probably too big to be a church, too small to be a cathedral, and it's called the Stub, and it's basically like a massive church tower. You'll see it on the post if you watch it, like a massive church tower, and it's not pointy. It's like it's flat, but it's really big. And I was thought, what, how old is that? So yeah, I googled all of that. So yeah, that was probably the last thing that I googled yesterday. But I've got a young daughter, so you Google stuff all the time. You Google rashes all the time. You know like she's always like you Google like when you should take them to hospital and things like that. So it's yeah, it's a bit mad.
Yeah. The problem is when she starts getting your phone and things pop up on your YouTube list because you need to next thing come up to take my phone, and these random things come up my watch list for YouTube. Like,
Yes, yes, I probably yeah. The other thing that I Google all the time, I don't know whether you're the same. I get quite obsessed one way or another with celebrities' ages. So like you'll hear from a celebrity and you sort of think, oh, I haven't heard from whoever from for like 5 years, 10 years. Kevin Costner. How old is Kevin Costner now? And how old is Mel Gibson? So I'm always going like Mel Gibson age, Kevin Costner age, Jennifer Aniston age. Like like whenever you see them on the telly, I'm just intrigued by how old they are now. Da, da, da. Oh, you definitely need to get Vanessa on for an interview, don't you?
yeah. What's weird about you?
What's weird?
Yeah, what's
I'm a
weird?
very yeah. I'm quite a fussy eater. Not in like I don't deal. I do them and I get on. Because I have to. But like any like formal sit down meal or something like that, like I really hate it. I don't know why. It's kind of I'm quite a normal guy otherwise, but I really get like a fear reaction. I get real anxiety around big formal meals. Uh, yeah, that's something that I wish I could change because it's such a part of day to day life to eat with people. If I'm around like really close friends or family, it's not a problem. But if I get invited to go for a meal with someone I don't know what it is because I eat food and I can eat my food fine and everything like that. I deal with it now. You get to an age where you're just like, okay, right, I've just got to deal with it, and it's just a necessary evil, and you get on with it. But yeah, is there anything else weird about me? Oh yeah, quite a lot. But everybody's weird, aren't they? If you ask the right questions, everybody's weird. And if someone isn't weird, then
You're
we
definitely
fall in we fall in love with what we find weird about people. You don't. it's hard to fall in love with normal traits in people. You fall in love with things that are obscure and unusual about how what people do and things like that. So yeah, but yeah, there's probably all sorts of. I'm not very good with names. That's one thing that I've learned through TikTok. Like when because you get invited to go to things, you sort of like I've realised, oh my god, I am actually terrible with names. So
What
yeah.
if invited to you're first getting invited to things? Is that kind of weird? Like, why am I getting invited to these things? Or is
No,
it
because yeah, so no, I'm self-aware enough to know why I get invited to things. I get invited to things. I say no to most of it. I get invited to things because effectively they want to get a post out of me. So their whole point is they invite 100 people along who are writers or influencers or creators like me, and they hope that sort of out of those 100 people, 30 of them cover it in some way, and out of those 30 things, 20 of them actually do quite well, and people read them or watch them or listen to them. Um, so like 20% of the people go into the thing might actually create something. So yeah, but I kind of I went through a phase where I thought, oh, this is really cool. So I said yes to quite a lot, and now I've rode right back on it. I now think sort of if I'm going to free up, yeah, life's too short. If I'm going to free up the time to go to an event, then that time would be better spent me actually making a proper post somewhere else, like me doing a post on something I want to do a post on. So yeah.
what's the last lie you told?
Oh no, that isn't fair because I've got a 6-year-old daughter, so I lie all the time. I lie all the time.
I've written it
Um,
down. Let everyone do.
yeah. Yeah, I lie all the time because when you've got a young child, you have to. And I lie to I tell fibs to my wife just for an easy life. Sort of. She'll say something like, "Do you think it's going to be a problem?" Like she'll say, "Oh, we've got this coming up. Do you think it's going to be a problem?" And you don't know whether it is or it isn't, but you constantly say, "No, it'll be fine." You lie to who else do I lie to? Um, Yeah, I do tell little fibs. I don't tell meaningful lies, but I do little fibs on things. Um, uh, I filmed in Harrods on Sunday, and yeah, I fibbed it to get into like the Rolex store. Um, they said, I just wanted to go in there to film it, and the person came over and said, "Do you have an appointment?" And I just said, "Yeah," and she just said, "Do you know with who?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got the email somewhere like on me because I just wanted to get the footage and get out. That's all I cared about. I didn't, like I didn't. It's just about getting in there enough to get 3 or 4 seconds of footage." Um, and as I sort of said, "Oh, hang on, let me find the email. I'll find it in a sec." She went walking off, and that was enough for me to then just get the camera out, walk into the shop with all the other staff at their desks, and like film it. And I don't know whether I can use it or not. I've got to look back at it and think. But yeah, I tell little fibs, like harmless fibs like that. But no, I don't tell meaningful lies. I dodge questions and I avoid people, but I don't tell meaningful lies.
Okay. So coming to the end of the interview. So uh, as it's near the end of the year, I know it's still November. Where where will your channel or social media be, say, at the end of 2023? What's your hopes? What's your plans?
It's up to TikTok, really. It's what because yeah, I don't know. So I really want to keep pushing stuff on TikTok. I want stuff to become 5 minutes long, 6 minutes long. I want stuff that so that's my dream. By the end on TikTok, my dream would be to consistently getting views. 200,000 views, and then the occasional one that goes out to 1 million or whatever. But consistently get like 1 to 200,000 views on maybe 5 or 6 minute posts that really go into depth over places and things and stuff like that. And then on Facebook, I'm too new to Facebook to know what an achievable an achievable target is. I'm still learning what Facebook likes. So yeah, but yeah, probably by the end of 2023, if I could move my average post length from 2.5 to 3 minutes to 5 or 6 minutes, and yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how would a friend describe you in 3 words? If you have any friends.
Yeah. I think they describe me as uh probably, oh god, probably
3 words though. Sorry.
well-meaning fool, or maybe I don't
Thoughtful.
know. Yeah, loyal but stupid. Like we're a very close group of friends. There's about 14 of us, and we really are very, very close. And we've got other friends from previous jobs and things like that, but we really are close. But yeah, like like we all upset each other's wives occasionally or whatever. It's always someone to blame for something that's stupid that's happened. Um, yeah, well-meaning fool, maybe loving yet naive. I don't know. I say stupid things. I do things that like upset people occasionally, but I think they know that I'm a good person. So yeah.
Okay, I think we will say goodbye to everyone who's watching. So everyone who has watched, viewed, commented, thanks for all the comments. I really appreciate it. And until next time, goodbye, everyone.